Rambam. Continue with the laws of the Shema, the prayer that we say, twice daily, once in the morning, once in the evening, that we learned about. So chapter 3, Oh, how I love your Torah. It is what I discuss the entire day. From King David. One who recites the Shema should wash his hands with water before reciting it. If the time reciting the Shema arrives and he cannot find water, he should not delay his recitation in order to search for water. Rather, he should clean his hands with earth, a stone, a beam of wood, or some other object, and then recite it. Because the Shema has to be done at a certain time. And if you're going to pass that time, right, one should not recite the Shema in a bathhouse or a latrine, even if there's no uh, fissile material in it, nor in a graveyard or next to a corpse. If he distances himself 4 cubits from the grave or the corpse, he is permitted to recite it. Anyone who recites the Shema in an improper place must recite it again because you didn't fulfill the mitzvah, the command. Halacha number 3. The Shema may be recited facing, but not inside a latrine that has been newly built, but not used as of yet. In contrast, the Shema may be recited in a new bathhouse, right, because it hasn't been used yet. In the case of the two buildings, one of which was designated to use as a latrine, and concerning the other, the owner said, and this, a doubt remains regarding the latter, whether it also was appropriated for a similar use or not. Therefore, one should not deliberately recite the Shema there. However, after the fact, if he recited it there, he has fulfilled his obligation. If the owner said, also this, but both have been designated for this use, and the Shema may not be recited in them. It is possible to recite the Shema in a courtyard of a bathhouse, a place where people stand clothed. Okay, so we're learning about, the appropriate way or appropriate place to say a prayer. Not only Kriya Shema, but nothing pertaining to matters of sanctity may be uttered in a bathhouse or latrine, even in a language other than Hebrew. Not only speech, but even thoughts pertaining to words of Torah are forbidden in a bathhouse, a latrine, or other unclean places, a place where feces or urine is found, right? You're not allowed even to think words of Torah in the bathroom. Secular matters may be discussed in a latrine, even in Hebrew. Similarly, the terms used to express divine attributes such as merciful one, graceful, gracious, faithful, and the like may be uttered in a latrine. Right? You can't say God's name, you can't say there, but you can make reference to God. However, the specific names of the Almighty, those which are not to be erased, right? Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, Elohim, and Kael, Shaka, and so on, may not be mentioned in a latrine and bathhouse that has been used. If a situation arises where it is necessary to restrain someone from wrongdoing, this should be done even in Hebrew and even concerning matters of sanctity. Okay. The Shema may not be recited in the presence of human feces, or in the presence of a dog or pig excrement, while skins are soaking in it, or in the presence of other feces, like these that have foul odor. This is also the case regarding human urine, but not animal urine. Excuse me. Some debate about this. Interesting. The sages need to know Could you imagine about feces and urine of animals? Because you have to know for the halacha. So you need to know the reality of them. Wow, fascinating. One need not distance oneself from the feces and urine of the child unable to eat the weight of an olive or of grain cereal in the time in which the adult could eat an amount equivalent to the weight of 3 eggs. Otherwise, if a child can't eat it, so their excrement, their feces, is not something that has a law of feces. One may not recite the Shema next to feces even if they are dry as a shard. However, if they were so dry that if thrown away that they would crumble, one may recite the Shema facing them. If urine that has been soaked up into the ground is still sufficiently wet and moist, moist in one's hand, the Shema should not be recited facing it. If it's dry sufficiently, the Shema may be recited. How far must one distance himself from feces and urine in order to recite the Shema? 4 cubits, right? Remember that. Hence, length is a cubit. This is about 6 feet. This applies when they are at his side or behind him, but if they are in front of him, he should move until he cannot see them, and then recite the Shema. When does the above apply? When he is in an enclosure with them, and they are on the same level. However, if they are 10 handbreadths higher or lower than he may sit next to him and recite the Shema since there is space separating them. The above applies provided no foul smell rather, reaches him. Similarly, if they were to cover the feces or urine with a vessel, it would be considered as buried, even though it would still be in the room. It is permitted to recite the Shema next to it. Okay, I have to stop over here. What's amazing over here is, actually, wow. Does this ever fit in with what we just learned in Tanya? What do we learn in Tanya? God wants a dwelling place in this low world. So in other words, what does it mean, the low world? It means you have to take into consideration the lowness of the world. So God is going to dwell where? Not in the latrine. He does dwell in the latrine. But how? Not by saying the Shema. By, not thinking words of Torah. By dwelling on something else. Like I have a book from the war. So I read that, from the war, from the war, actually the War of Independence in Israel, right? So, read that. Okay. Or, learn your calculus in the bathroom. Learn another language if you want in the bathroom. By the fact that you doing that because that's what the law is, whatever it is the way you make the dwelling place for God in this low world. In other words, his light cannot be revealed in the latrine through thinking words of Torah, right? But it is revealed by following whatever the dictate is in that moment. You make a dwelling place for God. So, like you would, what is there another faith that would deal with such issues with intricacy? Right? Maybe it would say, dress appropriately when you come to a place of worship. You know, come dress appropriately. Okay, that's a very general rule, right? You're standing before God in prayer, so dress appropriately. It's a very general rule. But here we're going into such specifics. Remove yourself 4 cubits. If it's covered over, this is the law. Why? Because the dwelling place for God in this low world, as just everything in this world has intricacies to it, right? Every minute thing, every colossal, magnificent thing, they all have nuance and details that are important that you observe in order to, you know, to be effective. So, yes, to create a home for God in this low world, all these details are necessary. Amazing. What a tie-in. What a tie-in. Beautiful. All right, folks.